Hey, everybody. The shenanigans.
All right.
Listen, okay. Hi,
We always come
everybody.
on with something.
I am Coach Kiana.
And
And this
I'm
is my
therapist
co-host.
Danielle.
And we are the Real on Parenting, laughing. Listen, we are in part 3 of this co-parenting thing. And when I say that there is just a little bit of emotional charge.
It is. It is. The dialogue between the shows is real.
It is because we were just a synopsis, right? Just like not a whole. We can't get into the details. It is because we were sharing personal stories, but we were talking
Right.
about the financial piece of co-parenting, right? And the financial responsibility. And I was saying that so often, a parent will say something like, "Well, she's using the child support money to get her hair and her nails done." And it's like, you ain't paid child support in 5 years, and now you finally contributing. So her money may just be a little bit freed up so that she can get her hair and nails done on a regular basis because she's not bearing the full financial burden. And so I think that that's something that people don't talk about when they're co-parenting. Like people feel like, oh,
Yeah.
this is what it is. And in the big scheme of things, you might have the rent. Like, I mean, rent, especially in California where we are, rent is no joke, right?
It is
I
not.
could
Okay.
choose to be in a 1 bedroom and share it with my daughter. However, the custodial parent is rarely in a situation where they're always in a situation where they have to make that decision. If you're dating, you don't, right? We talked about parents sleeping in the same bed with the person and their child. You don't want that, right? And so
Right.
the custodial parent usually does need a 2 bedroom, and the non-custodial parent gets to have a 1 bedroom because when they get them on the weekend or every other weekend or once a year, whatever the case may be, uh, they get to just have the 1 bedroom and be inconvenienced for a couple of nights versus the
Right.
parent that has
Yeah,
to
that's
deal
true.
with it every day. And so that can be an issue. So what we were just kind of discussing was just how, co-parenting involves so much. And the financial piece is something we just cannot do in one episode. Like, and we might not even touch it at all because, honey, what we don't
That's
want
probably going
is
to be a
those
three-four
letters.
parter. Right.
So,
Right
but
and
let's
right.
kick it off, Danielle, with talking about like how as co-parents sometimes our priorities are different, right? And let's talk about how that works. You want to start us off?
Oh, well, sure, since you put it that way. See? So I don't want to say unfortunately the obvious. I'll start it that way. Unfortunately, sometimes or a good portion of the time, the priorities of the parents are not at the advantage of the child.
Right.
It's personal, and there's hurt. And it's kind of like get back. So
Yes.
there are decisions that are made based off of those feelings that came from experiences, obviously.
Right.
But the impact that it has on the children or the child is not taken into consideration.
Yeah.
I feel that if a parent is really taking how their decision is going to impact their child, not to say that all, it'd be nice, but not to say that all, but I will feel that there will be more parents who will be making better decisions in regards to parenting their children and not making it a personal decisions. There's a lot of personal decisions within parenting that people are that's how they're parenting. And so
Right.
when it comes to priorities, it's about, you could literally be going off to do something else and you hear that daddy or mommy, is doing this or going for this, and you're coming out to sabotage. You're coming out to try to make it more difficult. You're coming out, to turn nothing into something. And I feel that is a priority in itself because you're making it your mission to make it as difficult as can be for that other parent when it doesn't have to be that way. That's your personal stuff.
Yes. And okay, so one of the things I said in the very first show of this series is my thoughts on if it's a win or a loss, right? And I was saying that
Mm-hmm.
for me, what I had to decide was it's only a win if Kayla wins. Now, if Kayla and I both win, if Kayla and her dad both win, it's a win because she
So,
won. If I win and she loses, it is not a win. And I don't mind taking the L so that she wins. Like as a parent, I'm like,
yeah.
what is going to be best for her health, for her development, mentally and emotionally,
Yes.
spiritually, right? And
Yes.
so all of those things play a role. And when I am trying to make a decision about my own
Mm-hmm.
priorities, right, I try to place her things up front, right? It's if it's summer vacation
Yes.
or spring break or winter break, whatever, I have to consciously be aware of my working schedule because she deserves some time. I have to consciously be aware of how long I'm working in the evenings, how many days. And we had to come to an agreement. Thursday nights and Sundays are for you. On Thursday
And
evening,
I love that for you guys.
5 o'clock,
Yes.
I don't care what's going on. Now, sometimes I can't do that. That's the
Mm-hmm.
reality, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
truth is, that was the agreement that we
Right.
had. And when I have to break the agreement, it has to be because it is directly related to me paying these bills that's going to keep you clothed, sheltered, and fed, right? Other
Yes.
than
Yes.
that, like I can't, like, don't any dude that's calling, listen, it is Thursday night, it's after 5 p.m. Talk to you tomorrow, right? Or after
Yeah.
8:30, because that's when she goes to bed. So
Mhm.
it's
Right.
like,
Yes.
I need you to understand that there is a sacredness to this
Mm-hmm.
time. And my priorities have to be, and sometimes I forget because I'm not a perfect parent, right? I'm
Sure.
about a
Sure.
95 percenter, but that 5% can really be a mess up sometimes. But I have to be intentional about my priorities. What is going to
Yes.
make sure that you're in perfect health, right? Because we got to make sure we have insurance. We got to make sure we have a roof, food, shelter. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to have
Right.
those things. But
Right.
sometimes the schedule is the schedule, and mommy can't control it all the time because I got to make sure I provide those things for you. So sometimes I got to
Yeah.
give a little bit and work on those days.
Mhm.
It's not ideal, but it is the priority. Outside of that, like,
Yeah.
what does she need? What's going to help her have a feeling of security? What's going to help her with her confidence? What's going
Right.
to help her? And that's a lot. And the non custodial parent
It is a lot.
does not have to
Yes.
deal with that often. But the custodial parent, listen,
Yes.
it's more than
Yes.
enough.
Yes. Yeah,
So that's what
girl.
that's our conversation on wins and losses because it's only a win. And I get it. Everybody does not feel that way. For me, for my household, it's only a win if my daughter wins. And I know that we're in a mindset of a win is a win, but it's not. Because sometimes you can
Yeah.
win. You can be strong and wrong, and you can stand in a position of
Right.
right and
Girl,
not be in a
there you go.
position of
You can be strong
righteousness.
and wrong. And actually, it's not
Well,
even strong, it's ignorant, but that's a whole nother thing. But I do like the phrase though, because it's a
it
choice.
rhymes,
But
Danielle.
yeah, I'm sorry. I had to break it down real quick because it sounded good. Though. See, I was like, yes, yes. But no, it do sound good because, but I think a lot of people can relate to that though because they can
Mm-hmm.
identify with it. And the reason why they can identify with it is because that's what they saw. It don't make it right. It's just what they saw, but that was what needed to be done at that time by way of who was doing it.
Yes.
So needless to say, don't be strong and wrong.
Right,
So,
right. So, okay, I have a question for you because
mhm.
I am I'm not a single parent. I'm a co-parent, but I'm a single woman. And at some
But I
point,
want you to say it again because there's a lot of people who are saying that they are single parents when they have an active when they're trying to choose a co-parent, but they have their partners, their ex-partners
but no,
are
it's still a
actively
partnership. It's still a partnership.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. So sometimes I'll be struggling with my words, but what they have where the other parent is actively parenting. So you making that statement in the way that you did, people need to hear that again because
Okay.
it's
And then
like,
I need to explain it too, because everybody has a
yes,
different view. So I am a
yes,
co-parent, but I am a single woman, meaning I do not have a boyfriend. I'm not married. I am a single woman. I am a co-parent in that he provides he gets Kayla every weekend, right? So she's
Mhm.
currently with her dad at least it's not a full 48 hours, but it's about 30 something, right? Like Friday to Sunday. Um and then he is financially responsible, paying, I don't know, I'm not gonna say the amount he pays, but
Girl, I'm about to
it's
say, oh, that's your business,
no,
but
no, 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 no. I'm just
he
saying, I just wanted to give a
okay,
perspective because there are
okay,
fathers who are like, I'm financially responsible and they're paying $200 a month.
got you.
That's, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if that's per
But
kid and
he's
y'all got
paying a
three kids, that's
reasonable
not a
amount
lot.
to assist
Right. He's
with
paying a
his
reasonable
financial
amount
care.
considering that he has his own household. Now, if it half of Kayla's expenses, absolutely not. Right now, I personally feel we should be paying half, but that does not mean that he's not paying what is reasonable for his budgeting and household needs. Like I'm
Sure.
very much aware of that.
Sure.
So he's physically there, he's financially there. Emotionally, I think he is there as much as she allows him to be. And
Okay.
then I think that there is a disconnect. But I think that that's because she has always had that with me. And so he's never had to have that level of responsibility. Right. So and then I think that there's, you know, when it comes to schoolwork and all that, he is disconnected from that part because I am here with her on all the days she goes to
Right.
school. Um,
Right.
physically, like like we were laughing because Kayla got straight A's again. She made principal's honor roll. Yay! Shout out for my
Yes.
baby.
Yes.
Um, look, where's my
Yes.
clapper?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And so I was like, he was like, man, I got to give, Kiana credit because she does all the
Yeah.
educational stuff. And I was like, but you can take credit for her jump shot, right? Because that is their thing. They are sports
Yeah.
related. Like they are
Mm-hmm.
very active together in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Education wise, he like, I only get to spend 2 days a week with her. I don't want to do homework.
Right.
And I'm just like, so you just not gonna parent? Like we like parenting is more than the fun stuff, right? And
Right.
so,
Correct. It
like,
is.
but
It
that does
is.
not mean that we are not co-parenting. Considering how much
Correct.
time he
Yeah.
has her, he is giving,
It
you know what I'm
doesn't.
saying? Like he is doing what the courts have decided, right? Because we couldn't come to a decision. So the state of California came to a decision for us.
Like,
No
yes. Step
problem.
in.
I'm
Right.
accepting of that.
Yes.
Again,
Mhm.
I am a co-parenting mom. I am a single
Yes.
woman, right? Now, is that fair, like time wise? And no, it's not because it's exhausting. When he gets off work, he gets to go do whatever he want to do. When I'm off work, I am parenting, I am
Yeah. You're
mothering, I
strong.
am being the dentist, I do all the appointments. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not
Yeah.
balanced,
Yeah.
but there is
Yeah.
harmony.
Right.
There is harmony, right? The difference
Yes.
in that is if I was to make a cake, I can't put in the same amount of baking soda as I do flour. Right? I
Mhm,
can't put the
mhm.
same amount of
Right. Right.
sugar
Right.
as
Because
I
I
do
won't be
flour
eating. But
because it won't be good, right? And so there is balance, especially since I want to be in charge of most things. So, like, let's be mindful of that, right? Don't be saying,
right.
oh, well,
Yes.
it has to be this way, but I'm gonna make all the decisions. I like the way it is because in the harmony of things, I get to take control, and because I'm better at keeping up with the appointments. I'm better at going, okay, she
Mhm.
needs this immunization in 6 months. Don't write me
Yeah.
about immunizations. I'm telling y'all, like, yeah, mind your business. Don't write me about that foolishness. So if I'm like, okay,
Right.
she needs this immunization in 6 months, I already have it on the calendar. I am that
Right.
person. I am very organized with
Yes.
it. And sometimes I
Hmm.
forget things, but for the most part, like again,
Yeah.
95%. Okay.
Yeah.
A is A. All right.
Right.
And so I think that,
Right.
when we're talking about this, we have to be very honest about if he was doing 50-50, would I want him to have 50-50?
Girl.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Uh-oh.
Right. 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 And all that comes with that. Do
Right.
you really want that? And not to say that nobody, no, I can't say that. I have to stop saying that because I remember my perspective is always different when it
Right.
comes to parenting. But when parents speak of the other parent and what they're doing, but a lot of times what they're doing that is wrong and what they're not doing, which is wrong. You know, keep in mind that with what the current situation is,
right,
if it was different in how each person was functioning in the current way that they are now, how would that realistically look? Would that be
yes,
more arguments? Would that be more headaches? Would that be more conflict? More than likely, yes. And not to
right,
say be happy with what you got, not at all, but just be mindful and aware of what you just shared. You know,
mhm,
there may not be balance, but there's harmony.
right. And I think that is something to be said about the nurturing role of a mom. There are plenty of married couples, and the mom does all the things that I'm doing as a single woman co-parenting, right? The mom is still doing
Mhm.
all those things. I mean, I can't speak to your balance, right, in your
Right.
household, but I'm
Everybody's
willing to
balances
bet.
will look different.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
willing to bet just by how organized you are, that you are in charge of most of that, right?
Are you
Because
talking about me?
that doesn't mean that he can't step
Right.
in. That doesn't mean that you can't say,
Sure.
hey,
Sure.
she needs to go to the doctor on this day at this time. Here's the card.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that he can't step in.
Correct.
It's just that for harmony reasons, right? Now, there has been an incident where Kayla's dad had to take her to the doctor. And I was like, I need to know
Yes, I hope he has
this.
a checklist now. Right.
And
But
he's
I'm the same
like,
way too, though.
I'm like,
And
well,
I'm
you
like,
know
call me
what?
on
Just call
FaceTime.
me.
I
I'm
need to
like, just
see.
call me from the appointment and I'll ask the questions. Not only did he
There
not
you go.
call, not only did he not call me, but he didn't ask none of the questions. And there were questions that the doctors had. And I was like, well, why you say that? That wasn't true. It was this. And he was like, well, I didn't know that. So I was like, okay.
Right. Know
After
it
I had
yourself.
my
You don't
Tasmanian
take that
devil
none of
moment,
places.
I was like, okay. And in that moment, I was like, I gotta release some of this responsibility
Yes.
and control. Let me be honest with myself. Responsibility and
Yes,
control.
yes. We do need to learn how to delegate. I'm speaking to
But I
me as
don't
well.
like the way he handled business. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep this part
But
right here.
right, but there is that part of being honest with yourself on what your co-parenting partner can and cannot do. Because we all
Absolutely.
have things that we cannot do effectively.
Absolutely.
There still may not necessarily be balance within that. However, be girl, because I'm gonna say be wise, but some people ain't got that. Just make it make sense. I'm not trying to be rude, but let's just be real in regards to not everybody has common sense, okay? So
Mm-hmm.
if you know that this person has consistently shown for the past decade that it ain't happening, the 11th year is not going to miraculously change.
It's
So when we're
not.
speaking of these topics, and if you are using, things that we suggest, don't try to come for us to talk about this person ain't changed. But that's not what we said.
That's not what we
Because
said.
again, what we said start with you first, because you get that
Oh,
part first. So let's bring it back. So, but within that, what
wait,
I want
time
you to
out,
keep it.
Danielle, because somebody is processing that. Somebody is literally
Okay.
cussing, giving us the finger. Like,
Okay.
let
And
that
okay.
digest for a second, because that hurt my feelings,
Okay.
right? And I know better. So if it's somebody that's new to this conversation and they just trying to be the best
Okay.
they can be, give them a second to digest that. All right, let's go.
Okay. I'll give y'all a
That was your
second. All
moment.
right.
That was your moment,
Okay.
listener. That was your moment.
All right. Okay. but within that, just how difficult it is just for you to accept your own, I'm saying me included.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, the level of difficulty it is for your co-parenting partner and what you're expecting of them. So,
Yes.
Auntie my Angelo, when people show you who they are, believe them. So if you're
Yes.
attaching a real unrealistic expectation of your co-parenting partner, boo on you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
that within itself, you have to keep that in mind as well. But it does not mean that by way of you effectively communicating, by way of you working on you and changing, I'll say changing working on those things that that could provide a positive improvement for yourself, but also
Mm-hmm.
a positive change within your relationship as far as parenting. Let that be your focus first. So
Right.
when
But
you do,
because I don't want us to lose focus. Like I went on a
oh, I'm
tangent because
sorry,
you
because we
asked
are
me to
talking about
explain,
something else. I'm
but I was
sorry,
asking
y'all.
about new relationships and how do I prioritize it as a mom, who is also co-parenting, but and sometimes he doesn't have her for the weekends because we might have something going on and she wants to do this instead. So what do you suggest that how do I prioritize when I decide to bring a new person in? I wanted to
So
get
you
back
know
to that because
what?
that's a
I'm
real
sorry,
question.
y'all, because I went on a tangent, girl. But you know what? I don't have a direct answer for that. I can
Okay.
share with you experience by way of when my mom was raising me.
Okay.
I vividly remember to this day my mom saying, I will not get married to anyone if it takes away from me parenting my child in the way that I would like to. So when my
Right.
mom got married, I was 30 years old. And that's not for
I remember.
everybody. That was her choice and her doing because of her personal reasons. Would
Hmm.
I say that would be it for me? I'm married, so I ain't gonna put that out there. But within that, did she date? Sure. And it was like you spoke of in regards to I didn't meet everybody that she dated.
Hmm.
And in those time frames when I was spending the night at friend's house or with my grandparents, those would be those times, very intermittent, if you will, but that she would have her life, if you will.
Right.
So when you are introduced, no, when you are living your life, just put it that way, in dating, courting, if you will, it should not be at the I don't want to
Expense.
say exposure, but your children shouldn't be seeing all that.
Yes.
Because with dating,
Absolutely
what it
not.
is the dating is finding out if I even want to text this person back. So within that, so let's say that you do, girl, okay, so let's say that you do come across someone that, okay, I guess I need a little bit of my time,
Hmm.
but even within that, if that person doesn't understand or show, well, because at the end of the day, people can say what they want to say. If that person is showing that the realness of your role of parenting and your responsibilities is a problem, then that's not
Mm.
the person for you. Because you being a parent is no on and off switch.
Yes. And listen, so I have a story. So there was a gentleman that I was speaking to. In our first conversation over the phone, because we're kind of like texting back and
Sure.
forth. I hate texting. That's not a way to communicate. It's a way not to, in my perspective. Um, and so in our conversation, my daughter came in, she had hurt her finger. And so I was like, hold on a second. And I'm communicating with her. Her finger, it's a little cut. And so I'm like, okay, like she smashed it or something. And I'm just like, okay. And he was just like, wow, these y'all some new parents because in my day, I wouldn't have
Ooh.
dare interrupted my mother. I said, when you smashed your
Oh,
finger?
and I'm like, I need a red flag. I'm
Right.
about to get
And he
flags.
said,
Red flag,
my
red
mother would
flag
have
on the
smacked
play.
me. Right. And he was like, my mother would have smacked. And I was like, well, and he went to talk about how
Yeah,
he,
don't call him
with
back.
his kids, like how he, didn't allow them to interrupt when he was talking and it had to be an absolute emergency. And I was just like, wow. And I was like, that is heartbreaking because I would never want to put my child in that position and I wouldn't want to be in that position as a child. And so then and I'm like, and I wouldn't whoop her for that. Like that's crazy to me. And so he was like, we got whooped and we're okay. I said, but are you though? Because you just suggested that I smacked my 7-year-old the way your mother would have smacked you. I don't think that's okay. And I was like, but listen, thank you for being honest, right? Because I appreciate the realness of
Right.
you. Um,
Yeah.
we're gonna go ahead and end this conversation. And I don't want you to call me
Yeah.
anymore. I don't want to talk to you. And he was just really upset. Like, what do you mean? Like, what
I'm
did I
sure he
say?
will.
And that's
Yeah.
what's wrong with
Yeah.
these new parents. And I was like, no, it's not what's wrong with me. It's that you take being smacked with having an actual situation going on as parenting. And I think that that's abuse. And so, because we don't see it the same, I'm going to go ahead and walk away now because there's no way I can
Yeah.
bring someone into my household who, because I
Yeah.
believe in hierarchy and order, right? And I believe it's the husband, the wife, and then the children. And because I believe that, I am very conscious of who I put over us. So, no, Kayla does
Yes.
not get to meet people just because we going out. no, I
Yes,
need to,
yes.
you
And
know what I'm
one, I wanted to
saying?
say kudos to you in the sense of doing that, because that is not easy. It's
Thank
not
you.
easy.
It's not.
And I would say, as a woman, we really, really hold on to this hope factor that,
Yeah.
right, we all done did it. We sometimes we still do it now, well, I can make them change, or it's not gonna be my child, and turn up and end up being you and your child. So so because I'm like, I'm gonna get a red flag on the play, okay?
Right.
And while you watch the playback, going to, because there were several red flags within that. So within that, you were choosing your child. You were choosing Kayla.
Absolutely.
So in certain situations, your child doesn't have to physically be there, or physically something happened. No, it's within your interactions with others. It could
Yes.
even have been a friend, you know what I mean? Not anybody that you were trying to show interest in or have interest in. And within that shows that your child is priority. So you are mindful of what the impact your personal decisions can have on I keep saying your child, but on Kayla. And that's very important. And that's what I feel that a lot of parents, whether they're in relationships or not with the parent or not, they don't have consistently.
Yes.
The priority as a parent should be a parent. I'm not saying to you are never on the map, obviously you take care of yourself, but no, your children are your first priority. Point
Absolutely.
blank.
Absolutely. And I think that, when we don't date out of desperation, and that's a
Ooh,
real
say that
thing.
again,
When we
girl.
don't date out of desperation, we can make those disconnected
Yes.
decisions, because again, what if I had decided like, oh, I'm gonna give him a chance, I'm gonna give him a chance. He has already told me how he parents. You're
Yeah.
not finna come in here and whip my kid. Now I know that there are a lot of men who are like, she have a problem with me disciplining. It's not about having a problem with you disciplining. I have a problem
Yeah.
with you punishing over silly stuff. That's the difference. I have a
Yeah.
problem with
Yeah.
you feeling like, oh, she interrupted an adult conversation when
Right.
she was really hurt. Even if there was no blood, she
Right.
was hurt. And so she
Hurt.
should be
Right. It's still something you
comfortable,
needed to tend to. Mm-hmm.
right? And how dare I put somebody over my home that would be upset about that? That
About
would
that.
treat that as an inconvenience or a disruption, when the fact of the matter is this child is hurting. Never,
Mm-hmm.
never can your needs come before my child's needs, or not needs, your wants, because that's a want. That's not even a need, right? And
Yes,
so
I was about
I
to
think
change
that
that. Yes.
being in a position as a single woman with a child, it is super important to me that I don't date in desperation, because I have to be mindful in dating. Like, even considering her dad, he has to meet this person, because this person is going to be around your child. I want to know, right? Because
Right.
there's no jealousy or anything like that. And I know that by how he treated my last relationship and how close they were. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
about him wanting me and not wanting any other man in the home. It's about, what is your perception? Did you get anything? Did you
Mm-hmm.
feel a tingle? Did your spidey senses start tingling? You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to
Right, right,
know,
right, right.
because even if I don't make a decision to walk away, I may make a decision to watch more carefully. That's important.
Yes, yes, yes. So I would say there was some good messages within this one. Um, by way of just having just some real
That's
talk,
Danielle's
because
way of
these
ending the
topics,
show, y'all. Like, it's like, I think that was some good talking points. If you haven't learned by now, Danielle is the listener, I'm the talker. And she
they
is ending our
were
show.
by way of both of us, okay?
She is ending the show, y'all. This is it. This is the end of this episode.
But on a real for real, but those are some real, there were some real hard truths that were identified within this episode, but even the previous ones. And I always say this, I always give my disclaimer. When things are said, they're not coming for nobody. If
Right.
you perceive it in that way, that means it was for you then, to be honest.
And we
So
are
this
not
is
responsible for your self-esteem. We do not take charge of it.
That is something to work. That's a youth thing. You need to work on that. So as we're talking about these various topics, one, we're talking about them because there are topics that are not being addressed, have not been addressed, but need to be addressed. We need to heal as a community. I'll just call us a community. We need to heal. And we need to be honest with ourselves on those things that we need to heal from. So that overall we can be a better person. And by way, be a better parent to our child. And even if you have adult children, I guarantee you there's aspects that they are experienced from childhood trauma. And childhood trauma does not default mean you were beaten in half to death. It doesn't mean that. It does not mean that whatsoever. But I guarantee you that there are childhood trauma, emotional trauma experiences that your child has experienced that they're holding on to because you have not changed. Yes. And changing is a choice. I'm gonna leave it at that because I'm gonna start talking about something else. But needless to say, within that, thank you for listening to our topics that we bring up. If there's any topics that you would like to talk about or even share your experience in wanting some, I don't want to say advice, but if you want a perspective on it, by way, then by all means, you can email us at therealonparenting@gmail.com. Kiana, anything you want to add on to that?
No, because that's gonna take us. My thought is gonna take us into another show. All right. Okay. Thank you guys for joining us. Hope you have enjoyed us thus far. We look forward to your emails again at therealonparenting@gmail.com. And we'll see you when we see you. Until we meet again, drink your water, eat your vegetables, take your vitamins, and mind your business.
On that part.